curious about are they still dancing in the streets in D.C.? What's the vibe? What's the mood like? Are the birds singing louder? Is the sun shining brighter? You know what I mean? Is the food tasting better now that ownership is finally changing?
In this blossom season? In D.C. right now?
Cherry blossoms are already out, have been out, they're done. It's over. You missed it by a couple weeks. But I told I told somebody the other day, fellas, if we found out 100% accurately, with no ambiguity, that Josh Harris had committed acts of cannibalism, people in this town will go, he probably had a reason.
Probably was a mistake. He probably didn't realize he was doing it, you know?
You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, probably shouldn't have done it, but, still, he's not Snyder, so.
Yeah.
Dude, the party, he's going to have the longest honeymoon in the history of honeymoons. Like, it will be years before anybody says a bad word about Josh Harris. It's just not going to happen. Like, people are so... Unanimity in this town is impossible on anything, Like, that's like asking people in D.C. who's your favorite go-go artist. You know what I mean? Like, you just everybody got their favorite, but everybody in this city is like, thank God this guy's getting out of here. Like, there's no arguing. There's no pro-Snyder faction in D.C. No, it's all get him out. Go, take your $6 billion and go. That's what people think. Take your money.
The disappointing $6 billion, by the way. How much is that supposed to sell for? Unbelievable,
exactly.
Rich people, man.
I know. It's crazy, but no, everybody's thrilled. Everybody's thrilled in DC.
I want to hear some answers in that poll, by the way. Favorite go-go artist. That just would be educational for me.
My all-time favorite was Air Raid, but that's me. That's my. I know Rare Essence and EU. They're legends. But Air Raid played at our high school and raised money for the Black Student Union, so that's why they're always going to be.
I love that.
Special in my heart. Special in my heart.
I'm gonna tell you something else. I want to see, DA. I want to see a 7-game series, go/house, because DC claims it, but so does Chicago. Chicago versus DC in this whole thing, and who wins? And this, I know. That's what people in Chicago say about y'all. Same thing. But here's the thing. I want to know this. Get serious now. I want to know, you've been asking, I'm sure, as a Commanders follower who has seen the best in that town from that football team, I'm sure there's some things you've been asking. Hey, if we had a real owner, and this real owner would do X, Y, and Z, what is it? What would you ask if you have Josh Harris's ear and Magic and and members of their group? What are you asking them to deliver now that they are curators of this franchise?
Yeah. Well, I think the number one thing is a stadium. Like, they need a new stadium. Everybody in town knows they need a new stadium. Nobody was going to do a deal with Dan Snyder. Even the Virginia legislature, which is pretty conservative, said, we're not, no, thank you. No, thank you. We're not doing anything with this guy. So now all three jurisdictions, DC, Maryland, Virginia, are open for business with the Commanders, with Josh Harris. So y'all mentioned that the $6 billion was disappointing. That means he should have an extra bill to build a stadium now. So let's get cracking. Let's get cracking with the new stadium joint. And, as far as the other stuff, look, I wrote this last week. Look, just don't embarrass the city anymore. That's the lowest bar you could possibly have as an owner. Just don't embarrass the city. Like, we can argue about you should get this guy or trade for Lamar Jackson or do whatever. And you can have discussion and disagreement about that. But just don't embarrass Washington, D.C. anymore would be the start. Like this last 24 years have been embarrassing. The ultimate, this is a guy, I don't know how much time I have left, but this is the ultimate story about how bad it was.
David Aldridge, man.
The Commanders under Dan Snyder. So a couple of years ago, the Commanders are awful. So the last game of the year, they're playing the Eagles at FedEx Field. The Eagles need to win the game to make the playoffs. So, of course, as has happened the last decade under Dan Snyder, whole invasion takes place. It's nothing but Eagles fans in the stadium. They took over the stadium. They're making noise. They're doing fly, Eagles fly every 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. But they also needed Minnesota to lose in the last game to make the playoffs. They had to win. and Minnesota had to lose. So they were up 24-0 at the half. So the game was over in D.C. So the Minnesota's playing the Bears. So they start chanting, "Let's go Bears," in the second half, which means the Commanders were the third most popular team in their own stadium.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.